Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of TacTalk. Of course, you've got your host, Chris Linville with Vulcan Arms and Guns America. Got my good friend, Andrew Chavaria here with me as well. We got a guest that we're really excited to talk with you about today. So Andrew, you want to introduce Geoff?
Yeah, so we got Geoff Reeves with us. Geoff's out here participating in the Vulcan Range Day that we have. We have Ron Holmes from Riker USA out here putting on the Range Day. But Geoff is a firearms instructor in his own right, former Navy SEAL, Hollywood actor, race car driver, entrepreneur.
So all the things.
All the things.
You do everything.
All the things, brother. All the things. So
Awesome.
Again, like I said, I kind of heard his story over here as we were him and Ron know each other. And as we were talking about it, I was like, dude, let's do a quick podcast.
Yeah.
So.
Well, excited to have you, Geoff. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, so we were talking earlier. You're from Ohio, yeah?
Yep.
Ohio, and then went off to
Ohio.
What was that?
Born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay, so it's cold up there.
Sometimes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you eventually you made it to Bud's in San Diego. It's a little warmer, but you chose to go spend all your time in the ocean.
That's right. I said, oh, no. I think I'm safe to say that San Diego is the coldest place I've ever been. And that's saying something because I've lived out of snow caves in Slovenia. So.
Fair. So you went off to college and then Bud's, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
After I graduated from Bowling Green State University.
Okay.
And then I went to the OCS program in Pensacola, Florida, before they moved it back up north. Became an officer and then went through Bud's as a 11850.
Awesome.
Was the officer and SEAL officer.
And so what class were you in Bud's?
So I was class 235.
235, and of 235, how many ended up passing?
So I think our original numbers were, like around 100, mid 130s. We got up to 160-ish being able to graduate with us with rollbacks and everything else.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, 29 of us graduated.
Right.
I think it was like 21 originals from the class. So
Wow. So, I mean, I think people realize, obviously, SEALs and becoming a SEAL is a big deal, but I don't think people realize that, like how few people actually make it through Bud's at the end of the day.
yeah, they say it's under 20% these days.
Yeah.
18% actually make it.
When, of course, your class was the hardest class there ever was, right?
Oh, yeah,
Always.
naturally.
Naturally.
I was actually just talking about that to a buddy the other day. I was like, man, I think my generation of soldiers were like the toughest.
Yeah.
Outside of the World War II guys, not taking away Vietnam guys.
Yeah.
And I was like, today's soldier couldn't hang with our soldiers.
No way.
Yeah.
But it's every generation, right? It's every.
I tell people I did the online course. I just filled my bathtub up with ice and sand when I got done, put on a bathrobe.
That's awesome. I grew up in San Diego myself, and I the experience that I had was obviously different than yours from a SEALs training perspective. I would just go sit on the jetties and watch you guys torture each other, and that was it growing up. But
it was fun. I would meet people like, oh, it's so neat when watching all these young people run down the beach. Like, do you realize how much they're hating life? How much they're, I mean, I shouldn't say that because we actually loved and enjoyed being there because of what I was doing, what I wanted to be. But at the same time, it was the best of days. It was the worst of days.
Yep. So, but we can't confirm that you were a Navy SEAL, even though your class, you don't have a book.
That's true. I don't have a book.
You
I don't have hair care products.
You don't,
out,
yeah.
So,
Yeah. So,
I mean, you drove up in a nice car. I assumed you had a book.
Question.
Find out. Yes.
No. So training, right? Training led into entrepreneurship, your gloves.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the glove system.
Sure. So I'm with a company called Triple Gambit, and we make a highly protective glove that anybody from military, law enforcement, blue-collar worker, if you find that your hands are in a high-threat environment from cut, abrasion, slash, FR, fire, then we specifically looked at a bunch of different protective materials and put them together in such a way that it protected wearer's hands. And when, like during COVID, I went back, got my MBA, got a master's in entrepreneurship, and looked at, gloves or hand injuries is the third most injured report that comes out of businesses versus head and neck and back. And then hands is number 3. So I went through and I looked at what are the difference, why are people getting injured with their hands? And they come to find out that people are taking their gloves off because they don't fit right, because of skin irritation, or because of a myriad of reasons. So me and my team, we set out to make a very specific gloves that fits great, protects the hands well. You can use touch screens through it, and that you can wash without degrading the protective qualities of the material. And it's a glove that you want to put on that will not only protect against impact or against flame, but also abrasion, cut, tear, all that. So very few companies have one that does many things. They usually do 1 or 2 things. And so we went out to try to find that glove that can replace several in your kit.
Pretty awesome.
And get that one that feels like a second pair of skin on you.
No, I get it, man. I'll tell you, I was using them just a little while ago running drills. And I didn't even realize it until I went to set my rifle down that when I took my rifle off the sling, I actually had the suppressor full on and set my gun down on the rack on it.
Good.
And I mean, it got a little hot right there at the last second. But the reality was I was handling a gun that we'd been running rounds through by the suppressor with no issues.
That's fantastic.
Pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know the condition of them. I haven't looked at them yet.
They're great. I mean, you can't even tell. So,
Yeah.
and the purpose is for like the heat or like for motorcycle riders, stuff like that. You can protect your hands if you go down against heat, against hot engines and stuff like that. Mechanics on race car teams.
Yeah.
So.
And so race car, you do some of that.
Yeah, so I actually raced for Nissan and Chevrolet in
Really?
2 national circuits in America.
Okay.
The Grand Am Continental Tire Series and then the Pirelli World Challenge Series, which is now known as SRO.
Very
But
cool.
then for the past 10 years, I've been a high-performance driver for Aston Martin North America. And I'm very lucky when F1 comes to the Americas, I get to go out and I get to give people hot laps on the F1 circuit in an Aston Martin.
So did you do Circuit Americas here?
I've done Montreal, Circuit of the Americas, Las Vegas last year.
Wow.
That's pretty. We're hitting 174 miles an hour down Las Vegas Boulevard. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
This was my 3rd year of doing Miami. We've also done Mexico City. So.
I've been lucky to be on the course in Austin.
Oh,
the
good,
Circuit Americas
good.
is pretty cool.
I'd-
I wasn't doing 174, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
When that track first came out, I didn't want to like it because everybody was into America's F1 track.
Yeah.
And I'm like, And then the more I drove it,
So is it true that it's getting? I mean, there's a lot of sinkholes around and things of that nature on it, right?
I've heard that.
You haven't. You haven't experienced that, though?
I would say I've heard that.
Okay. Fair enough. Right on. And so you're doing the glove thing now, but you actually do not only train yourself, but you're also training other people, right?
Correct. So I've got a firearms training company called Black Tie Protocol.
Okay.
And with that, we take people who want to get their CCWs in Texas to, if you've never touched a firearm before, you're scared of it, come on in. Let's get rid of all the misnomers, all the myths that the news and the media perpetuated out there that aren't true.
Yeah.
And so to get people comfortable. And then that very first basic course, it is to, if you've never picked up a weapon before, by the end of the day, I want you to be comfortable on your own, to be able to go to a shooting range, be able to put rounds effectively on target, and be able to understand why bullets are going where they're going so you can correct yourself.
Yeah.
Then our second class is what I call a self-defense class. So that's carrying concealed. Let's take, you graduated past the basic and be able to handle a firearm. Let's put you into a self-defense class where now we can take you and drop you into downtown or any town in USA. Right. And if you do feel threats, if you do feel the need to draw to save your life, you can do that effectively. And we talk you through not just this is what you do, but why do we tell you to do what we do. Right. And then finally, the advanced course is, by the end of the day in the advanced course, 4 of you with fully loaded weapons will be in a car, bailing out of a car, shooting, moving, communicate from in a car. And to see the look on people's faces of that.
It's wildly fun, right?
One of my favorite classes.
And we're going to be doing some of that out here. And that's something I wanted to hit on, is that I think a lot of people train, and we talk about this with TacTalk a lot, is people go out and train and they maybe shooting they're in a lane, in an indoor range, they're just shooting a few rounds here and there, but are they really learning skills that are going to matter if shit hits the fan? Sometimes it's better than not.
Yeah, I would say in that, whether you go to what I call a telephone booth, your alley range, you want to be sure that you're putting rounds on effectively and safely.
Yep.
Right? And okay, good. You're getting trigger time. You're familiar with the weapon. You know how it works. That's fantastic. But if you then think from there easily carries over into concealed carry out in town, there's a big part you're missing.
Right. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, that part too, right? So I've worked in ministry for the past 16 years, right? And one of the big deals, especially being up in DFW, was just, a few years back, the shooting that happened here in Dallas, right? You go back and you watch the video, and that was a retired police officer that took the shooter down. But you watch the video, 2 other guys had opportunity to neutralize the threat, but they got hung up. They did not understand the clothing. They didn't understand the draw. You could tell that these were individuals that have never practiced with actual practice
concealed and get on target. No,
right? And again, most ranges don't allow it. Most, time doesn't allow it sometimes for people.
Yeah.
Again, the practicum behind, knowing what you're wearing, taking those reps and doing.
That's huge. It's funny, when you say that, because your choice of holster is very important now, because there's a happy medium between concealment and be able to get your first grip when you go to grab your weapon.
Yep.
But then, as you said, your clothing, is it wintertime? Is it summertime? And that's one of those things, if you're going to choose to decide to carry, then you have to address how to carry, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So
and furthermore, practice that draw.
Yeah,
exactly.
Practice getting the shirt out of the way and taking the shot, whatever it looks like, right?
You're right.
And taking this further, and what we're doing today, and we're doing a lot of tactical training, move, shoot type stuff, what you're talking about with Ron and yourself as an instructor. And it's an incredibly good time, but even if we're not practicing these skills, it just doesn't matter.
Correct.
And they're perishable skills too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It frustrates me when people buy a firearm, they go to the range a couple times, and then it sits up in their box, in their closet, and they don't touch it.
Yep.
It is one of those things like any other sport that you need to practice to be proficient on. And it literally could mean life or death.
Yeah.
You know, protecting your family.
Yeah.
So,
Because going back to the church thing we were talking about, like what y'all just did, what y'all went through with shooting behind cover. We have a hallway that has a great wall for cover, but it's a long hallway.
Sure.
Right? How many people, and we asked our security team that, how many of y'all are comfortable peeking around that wall and taking that shot and
Absolutely.
neutralizing a threat? How many of you guys have trained shooting your pistols at that distance, right?
what happens if somebody just pops out of the door down the hallway?
Yeah.
But you're 30, 50 yards away.
Exactly.
How are you going to enclose and destroy
Exactly,
that?
right?
That's
So-
a whole other thing.
So again, right, going through those things, the perishable skills, learning, understanding what it is you're doing, understanding your backdrop, all of those things are important.
yeah.
Well, I think there's also understanding, commonality of equipment too when you get into this.
True.
I was through it, not this training, but another training with Ron where we were doing bounding drills at Osprey Global, and doing bounding drills down the field. And then Nathan Mitchell, that's here with us with Mitchell Defense, and he and I were on a team with another guy. And Nathan was pulling the dummy to do tourniquet work on him.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was doing cover and I ran dry on my pistol. And I reached down to Nathan's belt and just grabbed a mag. Oh, shit, this is for Glock. I'm running SIG, right? This won't work.
Yeah.
Now, ultimately, I had enough wherewithal to reach and just take his pistol and keep the fight
That's
going,
good.
right? But at the end of the day, that is another thing. I think if you're not using your gear, if you're not shooting with the people that you might be in a fight with, these things matter.
So many people, they buy what they think they need.
Yeah.
They'll take a 9-pound rifle, and they'll turn it into a 20-pound behemoth.
Yeah.
And then they're wondering when they try to hold it, why is it drooping? And they're like, dude, you have so much stuff on that.
All the things.
All the lights, lasers, and crap don't
And
matter
it's like,
all the time.
get rid of this and this. And
Yeah.
it's funny because at the end of courses, you'll see people like, this is
Yep,
one.
done,
use this,
done,
this gets in
done.
the way. You put
Yeah.
gloves on, this is annoying. So my thing is, if you can't shoot it with gloves, if you try to put it in the water or just like walk. I used to take all my gear, and when I put it on, I used to then go sit in my truck. I used to low crawl across my living room and see what caught, what did it, how does it handle, all that with gloves on and gloves off.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we talked about on an episode before. Like I personally, when I am carrying, before I leave the house, I've taken 20 reps in the outfit that I currently have on, right?
Yeah.
So I know what caught, I know what didn't, I know what moved. That's important because if I have to move, I'll carry appendix carry more often than not, but some clothes.
You don't appreciate your balls near as much as I do because I'm not carrying that way.
But I would say that if that's the case, you need a better gun, you need a better holster.
That's right.
That's all I mean.
Yeah.
So, but to your
But
point,
there are some shirts, right, that I'd have to move to the side or
yeah.
go to the small of the back.
There's so depending on what I'm doing for work, there's times where I have to be in a suit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if I'm carrying concealed with appendix carry, which is where I carry,
Okay.
then you like anytime you open up your jacket to go sit down at the dinner table, or anytime you get in and out of like the sports cars that I do, you're immediately showing that. So then I had to transition to a different kind of holster. Well, I actually go underarm on like a shoulder holster on that.
With
Because
suit.
it's a little with a suit.
Yeah.
So and that's something that you it takes time and to figure out, and it's like there's got to be a better way, and you just play with stuff.
So as we were talking training, right, one of the things that y'all have been drilling out here with Ron is mag change, mag swap.
Yeah. He does a great job with it too. I do want to say that.
Yeah, he does.
Holmes does a great job with his training of making sure that you get the repetitions in on that.
Yeah.
So
So let's talk. I heard a story that you were in the desert, Autobot Decepticon fighter.
true story.
True
It's a true story. Yes.
The Decepticons showed up and you had to handle it.
Had to handle it in
This
there.
is going to do a lot, I guess.
Yeah,
That's right.
So true story. You were in Transformers 1 and 2.
Correct.
All right.
Yep.
Wow.
And you actually had to do a mag swap.
Yeah, so it was in Transformers 2, and we were, the scene was, it's funny, like they took 3 months to build this city out in Alamogordo, New Mexico. And in one afternoon, it was lit on fire. The strings were blowing up. It was crazy to see. It's
Wow.
like, that's why movies cost $250 million.
Yeah.
But, so it was the center peel that we had down with 2 different elements going down both sides of this street. And at the end of the street, an Autobot and Decepticon were getting into it, and buildings were exploding, flames were shooting. And so the camera guy would run back as he would follow the center peel. So he'd follow a guy, and then when he would get to the next guy, he'd turn around, get behind them over their shoulder, see the shooting. And then when he would get up, he would then, when the camera guy would follow, yell last man, and then the camera guy would again and repeat that process. So I was like the second or third guy, got up, and I ran back, did my bit. And Michael Bay looks at me and he points at me. He tells me to like keep shooting on the opposite side. hell yeah, I want to be in the $2 million movie as much as I can.
Yeah.
So I ran behind Video Village. They tossed me some mags. I dumped my empties, put my full ones in, ran up on the right-hand side, and the camera was 2 guys ahead. And then when he got to me, he kept coming back. Well, here we go. Okay, know what we're doing. All of a sudden, he gets to me, and he gets right behind me, and I know, like, as soon as he crosses, that's my time to go. So, I'm going. And I'm going.
Yeah.
And I end up, like, emptying my mag. I'm like, well, I didn't hear a cut, so I keep going. So I do what I normally do, what I was taught. Drop down, do a mag change, and right there, the camera guy pushes right in on me. And I'm like, oh,
Don't fuck this up.
seriously, like, this is my heat moment with Val Kilmer. This is my time, like, big screen, this is the mag change. Do not screw this up. And so I go through it, and like time slowed down. It was just kind of like, oh, mag, ow, and hit the bolt kicker, turned right around, rocked it out, shot about half another mag, and then I finally hear cut over the megaphone. And I'm like, oh, thank God. And I walked back. I was like, oh my God, it looks so good. That was awesome. Like, yeah, thank God I didn't fuck that
That's
up.
cool, man.
So,
Now, I thought that was like, I was like, dude, former Navy SEAL, this guy's a firearms instructor, but here he's talking about Autobots and Decepticons.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
That's a real threat.
that's cooler than anything. I'm like, whatever.
it was so much
Like,
fun riding around.
That's what's
those.
about to happen anyway, right? All the AI, all the
story.
robots, you know. So just it prepped you, right? Now,
That's awesome.
now we need to learn how to fight Autobots and Decepticons. When's that course dropping?
Yeah, well, I think the ammo industry needs to beat up their rounds a little bit. Do some damage.
So you're saying 5.56 isn't enough?
I mean, not against when you're dealing with Cybertron, man. You really gotta help out the game.
All right. Well, Mitchell Defense just dropped their 8.6 blackout.
That's true.
Going with that.
That's true. Yeah.
We'll have to do some tests.
We will. Well, Geoff, thank you very much
thank
for being
you.
here today, man. I really enjoyed training with you today. I want everybody, we've got limited time out here. We're trying to do a lot. I want to get back to the firing line. I know these guys do too.
Yep.
So we're going to do that. We're going to get back to it. But I do want to say, if you need cases, things to protect your firearms from a waterproof or even a dustproof sense, of course, Vulcan, you can get those quick draws. Then, of course, if you need any firearms whatsoever, you can always go to gunsamerica.com. I do want to make sure you check out these sweet gloves, Triple Gambit.
Triple Gambit gloves. They are in stock, ready to be ordered. They give you fire protection, cut protection, tear protection. They do many things to protect your hands. You can wear touchscreens with them. They are a highly protective glove that'll fit you superbly.
Awesome. We'll also talk a little bit about the Vulcan weatherproof bags. So what's awesome about these bags is you're going to be able to put your rifle in them. We also have pistol versions and shotgun bags coming soon. They're fully waterproof, also dustproof. So put your gun in here. You don't have to worry about gumming up the action. And also the best part is it is a soft case, so you don't have to worry about putting a Pelican case or something of that nature in and out.
They are puncture-proof.
They are puncture-proof as well.
Really?
So
They are puncture-proof, DuraShock foam embedded.
that's right.
So yeah.
All the things he said.
Yeah.
So
Boom.
go ahead and pick one up. You can get them at vulcanarms.com. Thank you.